The massive alien ship appeared over Earth on a quiet Tuesday morning. It hung in the sky like a silver teardrop, its hull reflecting sunlight across the cities below. Earth's governments had only minutes to panic before the first message arrived. "We come in peace," the aliens broadcasted in perfect English. "We are the Galactic Council's first contact team. Your world intrigues us." Captain Tom Smith stood at attention in the United Nations Emergency Chamber, his Earth Defense Force uniform crisp despite the chaos of the past few hours. The alien representatives sat across from him, their environmental suits humming softly. They looked almost human-shaped, but their movements were too careful, too measured. "Your species confuses us, Captain Smith," said the lead alien, who called himself first speaker. His translator turned his clicks and whistles into smooth words. "You live on what we classify as a Class 5 death world, yet you thrive." Smith raised an eyebrow. "Deathworld. Earth is perfectly habitable." The aliens looked at each other, their suit lights blinking rapidly. "Habitable." First speaker leaned forward. "Your gravity is 1.3 times our standard. Your atmospheric pressure would crush most sentient species. Your temperature range spans over 100 degrees. Your world has thousands of venomous creatures, natural disasters, and extreme weather patterns." "That's just normal," Smith said. He watched as one of the aliens took readings with a device that looked like a glowing cube. "We've adapted to handle all of that." "Adapted?" Another alien spoke up, his suit marked with green stripes. "Yesterday, we watched a human child playing in what you call snow, frozen water falling from the sky. On most worlds, this would be an extinction-level event." Smith tried not to smile. "Kids love snow days. They build snowmen, have snowball fights. You let your young engage in combat with frozen projectiles." First speaker's lights flashed red. "For entertainment." "It's not really combat," Smith started, but the aliens were already huddling together, chittering in their native language. Their devices blinked and whirred. First speaker turned back to Smith. "We must revise our initial assessment. Earth is not a Class 5 death world. After analyzing more data, we believe it is a Class 7. The other aliens backed away slightly. Smith noticed their suit servos whining as they tensed up. "What exactly does that mean?" Smith asked. "What's the scale?" "The Galactic Council uses a classification system for planetary habitability," first speaker explained. "Class 1 worlds are paradise planets, perfect conditions for life. Class 13 worlds are theoretical death zones where no life should exist. Most civilized species come from Class 2 or 3 worlds." Smith nodded slowly. "And you're saying Earth is Class 7. The fact that you need clarification is concerning," first speaker said. "Your species treats lethal environmental conditions as minor inconveniences. Your children play in acid-based frozen precipitation. Your adults willingly enter bodies of water containing unknown creatures for swimming. You expose yourselves to radiation from your star for cosmetic darkening of your skin. You mean sunbathing." Smith couldn't help but chuckle. "Look, this is just how we live. Humans are adaptable. We've spread to every corner of Earth. Deserts, tundra, mountains, islands. We've even started building colonies on Mars." The alien suits let out a synchronized hiss that Smith realized must be their version of a gasp. "You deliberately chose to inhabit an even more hostile world." First speaker's translator crackled with static. "This information must be reported to the Council immediately." As the aliens hurried back to their ship, Smith heard them discussing something about threat assessment and evolutionary advantages. He watched their ship rise into the sky, its silver surface catching the sunlight one last time before it vanished. Back in his office, Smith filed his report about the encounter. As he typed, he smiled thinking about how the aliens had reacted to basic Earth facts. If they were this shocked by snow and sunbathing, he couldn't wait to tell them about extreme sports or spicy food. His computer chimed with a new message from the aliens. The Galactic Council requests Earth's presence at an emergency session. Topic: Deathworld Species Integration and Assessment. Smith cracked his knuckles and started drafting Earth's response. Things were about to get interesting. The Galactic Council chamber looked like a giant glass bowl floating in space. Captain Smith sat in Earth's newly assigned seat, watching alien representatives from 100 worlds argue about humanity. Most of them kept their distance from the human delegation. Dr. Blue, the Council's lead scientist, stood at the center platform. Unlike other aliens, he wore a simpler environment suit with extra sensors attached. "Fellow Council members," he said through his translator, "the humans represent an impossible scenario. Their world should be too hostile for intelligent life." "We're not impossible," Commander John Stone spoke up from beside Smith. "We're just tough." As head of the Earth Defense Force's Special Operations, Stone had insisted on joining the delegation. Dr. Blue's suit lights pulsed with interest. "Tough. Yes, that's one way to put it. Your species sleeps through 1/3 of your day, yet you've become space-capable. You deliberately eat plants that cause pain sensations. You expose yourself to harmful temperatures in what you call saunas for relaxation." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some alien representatives moved even further from the human section. "I propose a scientific study," Dr. Blue continued. "A series of survival trials across different planetary classifications. We must understand how humans function." Stone leaned forward. "You want to test us?" "For science, yes." Dr. Blue projected a hologram showing different planets. "We start with Class 3 worlds, then progress upward. No species has ever survived past Class 8. And if we succeed?" Stone asked. "Impossible," said a tall alien with crystalline skin. "Class 9 and above are theoretical death zones. Even our most advanced protective technology fails there." Stone stood up. The movement was so sudden that several aliens activated their emergency shields. "I volunteer to lead the human team." "John," Smith whispered, "this isn't a military operation." "No, it's better." Stone faced the council. "You want to understand humans. Let us show you what we can do. No special technology, just standard environment suits and basic tools." Dr. Blue's suit lights flickered rapidly. "You would risk death to prove a point." "To prove the truth," Stone corrected. "Humans don't just survive. We explore, we adapt, we overcome. That's who we are." The chamber erupted in discussion. Smith watched different species argue in their native languages while their translators tried to keep up. Some seemed excited, others terrified. "Order." The council leader's voice boomed through the chamber. "We will vote on Dr. Blue's proposal." The voting took less than 5 minutes. The result appeared as a hologram, 98% in favor. "Very well," Dr. Blue said. "Commander Stone, you may select your team. We begin with Class 3 worlds in 7 days." As they left the chamber, Smith pulled Stone aside. "Are you crazy? You don't know what's out there." Stone smiled. "That's exactly why we need to go. Look at them, Tom. They're so advanced, but they're afraid of a little challenge. Humans, we climb mountains because they're there. We dive into oceans because we want to see what's below. We go to space because we dream of what's beyond. And if you find something you can't handle, then we'll figure it out. That's another human specialty." Stone watched an alien delegation hurry past them, their environmental suits humming with extra power. "They think Earth is a death world, but they don't understand. Every challenge Earth threw at us made us stronger. Now it's time to show the galaxy what that means." Back on their ship, Stone started reviewing volunteer applications. Thousands of humans had already applied for the mission, each eager to prove humanity's worth to the galaxy. "Send this to Earth," Stone told the communication officer. Message reads, "The challenge is accepted. Humanity will show the galaxy what we can do. First trial begins in 7 days. Let them watch us rise." As the message transmitted, Stone looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, 13 levels of impossible challenges waited. He couldn't wait to start. The Class 3 world looked like a postcard of paradise. 2 suns shone gently in a purple sky, while soft grass swayed in the light breeze. Commander Stone's team of 5 humans stood ready, wearing their basic environmental suits. "This is your first challenge," Stone asked Dr. Blue, who monitored them from a floating platform. "It looks like a vacation spot. The atmospheric pressure is twice that of most civilized worlds," Dr. Blue replied. "The dual suns create complex radiation patterns. Most species require 3 months of adaptation time." Stone looked at his team. "Let's do some jumping jacks." The alien observers gasped as the humans began exercising in the high pressure. Their suits recorded everything, while Dr. Blue's lights blinked rapidly. "Fascinating," Dr. Blue muttered. "They're adapting to the pressure by increasing their physical activity. Most species would be unconscious by now." "On Earth, we have a place called the Dead Sea," Stone explained between jumps. "The pressure there is much higher than this. People go there for fun." The team spent 3 days on the Class 3 world, hiking through forests, swimming in lakes, and climbing mountains. The alien scientists couldn't believe how quickly humans adjusted to conditions they considered challenging. "Next planet," Stone announced on the 4th day. "This is too easy." The Class 4 world was different. Red dust storms howled across rocky plains, while geysers of hot gas burst from the ground. The temperature shifted between freezing and boiling every few hours. "Now this is interesting," said Mike, the team's geologist. "Reminds me of Death Valley, but with better weather." The aliens didn't understand that he was joking. "Better." Dr. Blue checked his readings again. "The temperature variance would kill most species. On Earth, we have places called deserts," Stone explained while setting up camp. "They get very hot during the day and very cold at night. We've lived in them for thousands of years." The team spent a week on the Class 4 world. They mapped the geyser patterns, collected mineral samples, and even set up a small garden in their camp using Earth techniques. Class 5 brought new challenges. A jungle world with higher gravity and aggressive plant life. The alien observers expected the humans to struggle. Instead, they found the team swinging through the trees, studying the plants, and making notes about possible farming methods. "Your species continues to confound us," Dr. Blue told Stone as they watched Lisa, the team's botanist, carefully catalog a tree that tried to eat her. "You treat deadly environments like research opportunities." "That's because they are," Stone replied. "Every challenge is a chance to learn something new, to become better." The team's success made waves across the galaxy. News of humans casually surviving deadly environments spread quickly. Some alien species started calling them Deathworlders, with a mix of fear and respect. On the Class 5 world's final day, Stone gathered his team for a celebration. They cooked dinner over an open fire, another concept that shocked the aliens. "You deliberately create and control plasma reactions for food preparation?" Dr. Blue asked, his suit's sensors going wild. "We call it barbecue," Jack, the team's engineer, said with a grin. "Wait until you see what we do with marshmallows." That evening, as the alien scientists watched in amazement, the humans taught them about camping, stories around the fire, and the simple joy of toasted marshmallows. Some braver aliens even tried making their own, through special feeding tubes in their suits. "I'm updating my research notes," Dr. Blue announced. "Humans don't just survive in hostile environments. They find ways to make them feel like home. This changes everything we thought we knew about adaptation." Stone looked up at the strange stars above them. 3 levels down, 10 to go. His team was just getting started. "Next challenge," he said. "We're ready to show you what else humans can do." The aliens would soon learn that they hadn't seen anything yet. The Class 8 world was a nightmare. Black clouds filled the sky, pouring acid rain that could melt metal. The gravity was 3 times stronger than Earth's, and the air was thick with toxic gases. Two of the alien observers quit immediately after arrival. "This is getting interesting," Commander Stone said, checking his team's upgraded environmental suits. The basic ones wouldn't work anymore. They needed something stronger for these higher classes. "Interesting." Dr. Blue's voice shook through the translator. "Commander, the acid rain just melted our backup shuttle." "Good thing we brought spare parts," Jack said, already pulling out repair tools. "You know, this reminds me of working on oil rigs back on Earth. Same kind of hazard planning." The team didn't just survive on the Class 8 world. They thrived. They built reinforced shelters, collected acid rain samples for study, and even managed to set up a small research station. The remaining alien observers couldn't believe their eyes. "Your species treats this lethal environment like a minor inconvenience," Dr. Blue said, watching Lisa test the soil composition. "How?" "On Earth, we have places called chemical plants," Stone explained. "Much more dangerous than this. We learned to handle toxic materials long ago." Then came the Class 9 world. The planet's crust was unstable, with earthquakes every few hours and volcanoes erupting constantly. The atmosphere was so thick, it was almost liquid. 3 more alien observers quit, leaving only Dr. Blue and 2 others. Lieutenant Reed, the team's survival specialist, came up with a brilliant solution. "See these volcanic tubes? They're like the lava caves back home. We can use them for shelter and research." "Impossible," one of the remaining observers said. "The heat would be perfect for setting up a base," Reed interrupted. "The thick walls will protect us from radiation, and we can use the heat for power." The team spent 2 weeks on the Class 9 world. They built a network of caves, studied the strange life forms living near the volcanoes, and even managed to grow some earth plants in the mineral-rich soil. The real test came with the Class 10 world. The gravity was so strong it could crush their strongest ships. The alien scientists said nothing could survive on the surface. Reed looked at the readings and smiled. "You know what this reminds me of? Deep-sea diving." "Explain," Dr. Blue demanded, his suit lights blinking with interest. "On Earth, we have ocean trenches where the pressure is enormous. We built special vehicles to explore them. We can use the same principles here." The team modified their equipment using Reed's deep-sea designs. They created pressure suits that worked like miniature submarines, allowing them to move on the surface. The aliens were speechless. "This is beyond anything we thought possible," Dr. Blue admitted, watching the humans work. "You're not just surviving. You're adapting the environment to your needs." "That's what humans do," Stone said proudly. "We see problems as challenges to overcome, not barriers to stop us." By the end of the Class 10 trial, word had spread across the galaxy. Videos of humans walking on a world that should have crushed them went viral on alien networks. Some species started calling humans the impossible ones. In their base camp on the last night, Stone gathered his team for a meeting. 3 more classes to go," he said. "The really hard ones are coming up." "Hard?" Jack laughed. "Good. I was starting to get bored." The team laughed, but Dr. Blue noticed something important. Their laughter wasn't nervous or forced. They were genuinely excited about facing even greater challenges. "I must update my research again," he told his remaining colleagues. "We're not just studying human survival abilities anymore. We're witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history." As they prepared to leave for the Class 11 world, Stone looked at his team with pride. They had already proved humans could handle what the galaxy considered impossible. Now it was time to show them what impossible really meant to humanity. Ambassador Gray stood before the secret meeting of council members, his crystalline form glowing with worry. "The humans must be stopped," he said. "They've survived worlds that should have killed them. If they complete all trials, they'll want to explore every deadly corner of the galaxy." "What do you suggest?" asked another council member. "They've already passed Class 10. We make Class 11 truly impossible." Gray's crystal surface flickered darkly. We change the environmental controls. Make it worse than it should be. In the observation room above the Class 11 world, Dr. Blue noticed something wrong with his readings. The gravity was shifting randomly. The atmospheric pressure was much higher than planned. Even the radiation levels were beyond the test parameters. "Commander Stone," he called through the radio. "We should stop the trial. The conditions are dangerously unstable." Stone's voice came back calm and clear. "We noticed, but we're not stopping." The human team had already set up their base camp on the Class 11 world surface. The planet was barely solid, more like a swirling mass of heavy gases and liquid metals. The random gravity shifts made walking nearly impossible. "Someone tampered with the controls," Jack said, checking their equipment. "These readings don't match what we prepared for." "Doesn't matter," Reed replied, already working on modifications to their suits. "Remember that carnival ride back home. The Gravitron. Same principle, different scale." Stone smiled behind his helmet. "Trust humans to compare a deadly alien world to an amusement park ride." The team adapted quickly. They developed a new walking technique, moving between gravity shifts like surfers riding waves. When the radiation spiked, they used the liquid metals in the ground to create natural shielding. In the observation room, Dr. Blue discovered messages proving the sabotage. He watched Ambassador Gray and others secretly adjusting the environmental controls, trying to force the humans to fail. "This is wrong," Dr. Blue announced over the Council's emergency channel. "You're trying to kill them." "We're protecting the galaxy," Gray replied. "These humans, they're too adaptable, too dangerous. What happens when they start spreading to other Deathworlds? When they teach other species their survival techniques?" Below them, the human team wasn't just surviving. They were documenting everything. Lissa discovered new forms of crystal growth in the shifting gravity. Jack figured out how to use the planet's strange magnetic fields for power. Reed developed new protection techniques against the radiation. "Look at what they're doing," Dr. Blue told the council members watching the video feeds. "They're not just enduring these conditions, they're learning from them, developing new technologies, making discoveries that could benefit everyone." The saboteurs' next attempt backfired completely. They tried to create an electromagnetic storm to disable the humans' equipment. Instead, the team used the storm's energy to power their experiments. "You don't understand humans at all," Dr. Blue said to Gray. "You try to create impossible challenges, but that's exactly what drives them to excel." The truth about the sabotage spread quickly through the council. Many members were outraged, not just at the conspiracy, but at the waste of valuable research opportunities. The humans were proving that even the most hostile environments could teach them something new. Stone gathered his team after their 2-week stay on the Class 11 world. Despite the sabotage, they had collected more data than any previous expedition. "They tried to make us fail," he told his team. "Instead, we learned more than we expected. That's humanity's real strength. We don't just overcome challenges. We learn from them. We grow stronger." Dr. Blue approached them as they prepared to leave. "The Council knows about the sabotage now. They've removed the conspirators. The final trials, Class 12 and 13, will be fair." Stone nodded. "Wouldn't matter if they weren't. We'd find a way through anyway. That's what humans do." As their ship lifted off, Dr. Blue realized something important. The conspirators had accidentally proved exactly why humans were so remarkable. Even deliberate sabotage had just given them more opportunities to demonstrate their incredible adaptability. The Class 12 world wasn't really a planet anymore. It was a swirling mass of plasma and strange matter, with gravity so intense it bent light itself. No ship had ever returned from its surface. The Galactic Council had labeled it theoretically unsurvivable. "Now this is what I call a challenge," Commander Stone said, looking at the readings. Most of their equipment stopped working as soon as they entered orbit. "Commander," Dr. Blue's voice crackled through heavy interference, "no one expects you to actually land there. Just scanning it would be a huge achievement." Stone looked at his team. They all nodded. "Doctor, you might want to record this. We're going in." The landing craft they designed looked nothing like a normal ship. Jack had rebuilt it using ideas from deep-sea submarines and space probes. The hull was reinforced with materials they discovered on the Class 11 world. "The gravity will crush standard ships," Reed explained as they prepared for descent. "So we're not fighting it. We're going to surf it." "Surf? Gravity?" Dr. Blue asked, his translator struggling with the concept. "Like riding a wave," Stone said. "The bigger the wave, the better the ride." Their descent looked impossible. The ship spiraled down through layers of plasma, riding gravity waves like a surfer on Earth's oceans. When the hull started to crack, they released special shields designed by Jack that used the planet's own energy to protect them. "Impossible," one council member whispered, watching the feeds. "They're actually doing it." The surface, if it could be called that, was stranger than anything they'd seen. Matter itself behaved differently here. Their boots would sink through solid ground one moment, then feel like they were walking on rubber the next. "The laws of physics are more like suggestions here," Lisa said, taking readings. "This is amazing." The team had planned to stay for an hour. They stayed for 6. They collected samples of matter that shouldn't exist. They recorded gravity patterns that broke known physics. When their equipment failed, they made new tools from materials they found. "Commander," Jack called out, holding up a strange glowing crystal. "This stuff. It's absorbing gravity itself. Think of what we could learn from it." Even when their suits started to fail, the team adapted. They used the planet's intense magnetic fields to maintain their life support. When communications went down, they rigged up a new system using the same principles they discovered in the electromagnetic storm on Class 11. Back in the observation ship, Dr. Blue watched in amazement. "They're not just surviving," he told the council. "They're exploring, experimenting, learning. This place breaks every law of physics we know, and they're treating it like a new playground." The team's return trip was even more dramatic than their landing. The gravity tried to tear their ship apart, but Jack's modifications held. They surfed back up through the plasma layers, their ship glowing like a new sun. As they docked with the observation station, Stone looked at his team with pride. They were tired, their equipment was mostly destroyed, but they were grinning like kids after an adventure. "Just one more to go," Stone said. "Class 13. "Commander," Dr. Blue approached them as they removed their damaged suits. "Class 13, it's not just theoretical. It's considered impossible. The numbers don't even make sense. Reality itself breaks down there." Stone smiled. "Doctor, do you know what humans call things that are supposed to be impossible?" "What?" "A challenge we haven't solved yet." The team spent the next day repairing what they could and building new equipment from their discoveries. They didn't know exactly what Class 13 would throw at them, but they knew one thing. Humans didn't back down from impossible challenges. "Tomorrow," Stone told his team, "we show the galaxy what impossible really means to humanity." Dr. Blue watched them prepare, finally understanding something crucial about humans. They didn't just face the impossible. They redefined it. The Class 13 world defied description. It existed in a place where space and time didn't work properly. The planet's surface was sometimes there, sometimes not, as reality itself fluctuated. Even looking at it through sensors made most aliens feel sick. "This isn't a planet," Dr. Blue warned. "It's a tear in reality. Nothing can survive there. Even light behaves strangely." Commander Stone and his team stood in their final version of protective suits, built from everything they'd learned. "How long do we have?" "The longest theoretical survival time is 3 minutes," Dr. Blue said. "After that, the fabric of reality will." "We'll take an hour," Stone interrupted. "Team, ready." They had stripped their equipment down to the absolute basics. Everything they carried was made from materials they'd discovered on previous worlds. Jack had rebuilt their sensors using the gravity-absorbing crystals. Reed had modified their suits with the strange matter they found on the Class 12 world. The landing wasn't just impossible. It broke physics. They didn't so much fly down as fall through different layers of reality. Sometimes they were in normal space, sometimes in places where the laws of nature worked backwards. "This is incredible," Lisa said as they touched down on what might have been the surface. "The planet exists in multiple states at once. It's like being inside and outside of reality at the same time." The team moved carefully, using their new tools to navigate spaces where direction had no meaning. They collected samples of materials that shouldn't exist. They recorded data about how reality behaved when it stopped behaving normally. 40 minutes in, Jack announced, checking their modified sensors. "We're still here." The Galactic Council watched in complete silence. Many species had to turn away from the screens. Just watching the feeds hurt their minds. But the humans kept working, kept exploring, kept learning. At exactly 1 hour, Stone gave the order to return. Their ship phased through different realities on the way up. But the team had expected this. They'd learned how to ride the waves of possibility, just like they'd surfed gravity on the Class 12 world. When they docked with the observation station, there was no applause. The alien observers were too shocked to react. The human team had just spent an hour in a place where reality itself broke down, and they walked out smiling. "The samples," Lisa said excitedly, holding up containers of impossible materials. "The data we collected. This changes everything we know about physics." Dr. Blue approached them slowly. "You didn't just survive," he said. "You did research. You collected samples. You treated a reality-breaking phenomenon like a field trip." "That's what humans do," Stone replied. "We explore. We learn. We adapt. Every challenge makes us stronger." The Galactic Council called an emergency session right there on the observation station. The classification system, they realized, needed to be completely rewritten. Humans hadn't just survived the impossible. They'd turned it into an opportunity for growth. "We propose a new standard," Dr. Blue announced to the Council. "Earth will be our baseline, what humans call normal, what they live with every day. That's our new measure for species development." Stone listened to the Council members talk about new classification systems and research opportunities. His team had proved something important. There was no such thing as an unsurvivable world, just worlds that hadn't been explored yet. "Commander," Dr. Blue asked quietly, "what will humans do now? You've conquered every level of challenge we could imagine." Stone smiled. "Doctor, did you know that humans have a saying? The sky's the limit, but we went past the sky long ago. We broke through every limit you set. And now," he looked out at the strange, reality-breaking world below them. "Now we know that even the laws of physics aren't really limits. They're just another challenge waiting to be overcome." As the human team prepared for their return to Earth, the galaxy buzzed with news of their achievement. But more than that, species across the universe had learned something important. In a hostile universe, humanity's greatest strength wasn't just surviving. It was turning the impossible into the achievable, one challenge at a time. Class 13 defeated, Stone logged in his final report. Conclusion: nothing is impossible. It just hasn't met humanity yet.